Good afternoon. Just turned, well, it's about 12:18 p.m. Alright, I'm back on the trail. First time I ever parked here. This is the Noblestown trailhead of the Panhandle Trail. Today is, let me set this one. Hi.
Hi.
Set this workout first. Now, because this is new, I've never parked at this trailhead before. I'm going to go back towards Sturgeon. That's paved up there. That way down there goes towards Oakdale. That's not paved yet. Now, let's go this way. Today is, what is it? Wednesday, August 26th, 2026. I'm just going to take it slow. Alright, so there's this road that goes through. There's Noblestown, PA's over there to the right. There's no signs, Panhandle Trail signs or anything. It's a Panhandle Trail, 4.5 miles. I'm not sure exactly what that numbering system refers to. There's another numbering system with those white signs, which this should be like around, I'm going to guess like maybe 10 or 11. That must be a different, like a rail marker sign. Yeah, this is going to take a while to get my leg in the right position here. Yeah, this is pretty nice. I'm glad they paved this. So when I first started coming out here in 2023, none of this stuff was paved. It was paved from McDonald on west, which is the Washington County, but the rest of this wasn't paved. This is paved here, and it'll be paved all the way to Sturgeon, and then they're almost all the way, not all the way, but almost all the way, I don't know, maybe halfway from there to McDonald. I've seen the grasshoppers that time of year, late summer, early fall. You start seeing all these grasshoppers everywhere. Well, this is my second walk after that 6-week hiatus due to that hip and back problem. That was on Monday. This past Monday was my first walk. Today's Wednesday. I better slow it down because it's not feeling too great right now. Like I said the other day, it's so different, and you're walking around in your living room, you're thinking you're feeling great, and then you start coming out in the real world, and it's a different story. I'm basically just crawling right here. I think that's what I gotta do to get back in shape. I don't know if I'm ever going to be back in shape. The thought of me doing those long, like 3 to 4 mile total trips, walking, is what I was doing all summer here, for 3 years. The thought of that doesn't sound like I'll ever be able to do it again. Need a way to stand up straighter that helps that. I'm gonna hang around this guy. It's going so damn slow here. I don't want him being on my video the whole time. Just let him go a little ways. Get a drink of water. Alright, so look at where we are. I mean, that's where I started, back there at that intersection. And I've gone like almost 0.2 miles. Wow. 0.2. Alright. Little caterpillar there. Tiny little caterpillar. Well, like I said several times before, I really like the fact that the Panhandle Trail paved a lot of these trailheads, the parking lots. That's great. And then now they're paving sections of this. That's great. These are like people's driveways right here. Wow. This guy with that dog up there, it's taking so long to keep walking. Letting that dog go all over the place. I don't want that on my video the whole time. Hi. There's a bench. Yeah, he's letting that dog go all in. Every 5 seconds, the dog's over there messing around in the weeds. That guy's going slower than I am. Buried fiber optic cable in the vicinity. Nice house right there. You know what? I think I'm going to turn around because I don't like this guy being here. I'm at 0.25 miles. I'm not going to ever make it to Sturgeon, you know, in my condition. But I don't like that guy so close. I'm going to go back this way. And I think when I get back, that'll only be 0.5 miles total. And then I'll go the other direction on that crushed limestone just for something different. Well, these videos aren't going to be that great. I mean, I don't know if any of my videos are that great, but these short walks, and what I'm doing right now, it's not going to do it justice. You can't see too much. And you think about where you go, places I love. I'm just thinking out loud right here, but thinking of the places that I love to go to, and will I get to go to them again? Because they're not real close to trailheads. You've got to walk, you know, between say a mile and a half to get to some of these interesting sites. And I'm not up for that right now. Although I'll tell you what, right now, as I speak, this is feeling a lot better. See, the same thing happened the other day. I started walking. It didn't start out too great. And as I started walking, it started feeling pretty good. All right, well, this is feeling pretty good. Yeah, it fools you because you're at home, walking around your living room, and you're like, man, I feel almost like back to normal. You start having this false thought that I'll be great, but then you wake up the next morning and it's not great. I should probably do some extra, videos here or selfies or whatever. I haven't done any yet. Alright, that will go towards Sturgeon. And this down here heads back towards Noblestown where I parked. Got the obligatory selfie video, that is. Goes to Sturgeon. And then we've got Noblestown. Okay. Get that out of the way. Now, the fact that I just stopped here, we'll see if that messed anything up when I start walking again. No, it's okay. This thing is so weird. It started out, I told that story the other day on my video, how, it actually came to a head and then it started this thing where I was limping. But I mean, I think it started a long time before that. There was a time in May of this year when my hip area was sore and I was walking a lot, every other day or sometimes every day, day in a row, every day, bunch of days in a row, or every other day or whatever. I was just on a mission. I got to do this. I love this. And there was that one time in May, and I was at Cliff Mine down there on Montour Trail, and every time I stop and I'd like pivot, it was hurting my hip. And I said, I better go back to the car. I don't want to go any further here. That was sore. It got better. Then I don't know, it was a couple days after that or whatever, I went to a mall and thought I'd do the indoor mall walking, and that same thing was happening. Comes somebody on a bike. Ring, 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 you didn't do it. Anyway, in the mall that one day in early May, same time frame, it was that way where I was like limping, like I'd start to walk and the leg would give out. I was like, oh man, this is getting bad. Well, then it recovered, And I felt okay. I stayed home for a while. Then I went back out the week after. It was like, remembering May 11th, I went to a mall, walked around, did a lot of laps around the mall. May 12th, I went down. The next day, I went down to the Gap Trail for my first time down there. Another guy just passed me without announcing. That really pisses me off, man. You're supposed to make an announcement that you're on the left. Anyway, I went to the Gap Trail. That was a blast down there. And then I did a lot of walking. So that problem with the hip, that went away. And I was okay for a good while. Until we got into early July. And I explained all that the other day about what I attributed that to was lack of sleep for days, working on my knees on my computer instead of sitting at a table or, sitting at a bench or whatever. Sitting in a chair. I'd be like kneeling down and typing on this lower table because I thought that was cool. I look up and watch TV a little bit and typing. I'd be doing it for hours and hours. I'm like, holy crap, I'm hurting myself. And then the other thing was doing these long walks out in the heat and humidity at that same time, which all led to inflammation. All of those things I mentioned leads to inflammation in your joints. I'll tell you what, right now I am feeling great. I'm walking normal, I'm not limping or anything. This is great. So here we are back at the Noblestown trailhead. Notice there's no, Panhandle Trail signs or anything here. This side has 3 spots for handicap. I'm going to try to hide my license plate from view. I don't want to. It's not a big deal. License plates are public information, so I just don't want to really get it on the video. Hi. Alright, so now we're on this crushed limestone. That's fine. The Montour Trail is almost the whole thing is crushed limestone. There are certain sections that are paved, like sometimes when you get from the entrance to the tunnel here or there, Enlow Tunnel, when you go, that's paved for a little ways. The biggest paved part is out in Bethel area, near Peterswood Park, Peters Township and all that. There's the Arrowhead portion of the Montour Trail is paved. Down there from Route 19 near Valley Brook Road all the way through McMurray and all the way up to the beginning of the Bethel branch or the end of the Bethel branch, whichever. That's all paved. The Arrowhead portion. Now here's the thing, I'm looking at this right now. This is what I never used to like about the Panhandle Trail. See, over on the left is what I like, where the tree line's real close and everything. But they got this wide open thing here that they cut the grass. And this is like this double wide business that I don't like. I wish the tree line was right here. Now, it's not always like that. A lot of the places I went to at the beginning of this 2023, I'd go to all these places that were like this. I'm like, I don't like this Panhandle Trail for that reason. I'm actually walking better now. I'm walking faster and everything. But this is giving me some confidence You know, I think I could actually do that. The one I want to do real bad is go back to Bulger or Midway, whichever. I like Bulger's parking lot better. And go to that Field of Dreams. I love that. I made that the wallpaper. I guess you use this wallpaper here. See, that's okay. Never mind. It's hard to see. Never mind it. Well, actually, wait a minute. What the hell am I even doing this for? Alright, there's a way to do that. Where you touch on this like that. No, that's not it. Well, it's right there, but this goddamn thing's right in the middle. That's the Field of Dreams right there. That I use that as wallpaper. I got that on my iPad. Okay, that's a test of it right here. I stopped and did that. And now I'm walking, started walking again. I'm feeling okay. Wow. I'm feeling back to normal now. What a relief, man. What a relief. These 6 weeks have been terrible. So, yeah, positive is you're out here now, you're doing it. You know, it's August, almost the end of August. It's too bad you lost all those weeks. Some of them were that real hot weather, so it's okay. Some of it had some rain, so that's okay. But the rest of it, you're like, I just stayed indoors. But I'm feeling good right now. I'm going to hold off for a little bit. We're supposed to have some rain tomorrow, maybe even Friday, I don't know. I'll just hang off, hold off a little bit. Maybe next week I'll go back out. You don't want to do this too often, you'll hurt yourself. But one day I want to go back out to that Field of Dreams. I've been watching my videos over and over. I'm actually walking normal. There's no limp at all. That limp was so terrible. Like you try to walk without limping, but you couldn't help it. Hi. There's water down there. Hi. Check out this water over here. Just don't step in anything stupid. Alright, so we're on the Panhandle Trail heading towards Oakdale that way. There's this little wall and fence and everything, and then there's water down inside there. Come back out of this. There's on the other side, there's that wall too. That's heading towards Oakdale. I'll tell you what, man, we're feeling pretty gosh darn good. I'm going to keep walking. I've gone 0.75 miles already. So you figure that's 0.25 in one direction and back, that's 0.5 to that parking lot again. Now it's 0.25 in this direction. But I'm going to keep going. Look at that pathway through there. Wow. We ain't doing that. See, my fear is that this won't last and I'll hurt myself, like by just keep walking and walking and walking, that I will eventually hurt it and make it go back to the way I was 6 weeks ago. But I'm going to try. Well, I just won't go that far. I think what I'll do is I'll go 7.5. I'll go to 1 mile on here total, and then it'll be a half a mile back. So that'll be 1.5 total. It'll be like half what I used to do as my average, but hi. See, when I did this on Monday, it was my first day back. I started out and it was the same thing. It was real stiff and I was limping and stuff. Not real bad, but not great. Then as I started walking for a little ways, it got good. Now, the good thing was I didn't have any ill effects from that the next day or the same day or next morning, whatever. I was fine. Yesterday I was fine. I could have actually gone out, but I said, I'm just going to stay home and relax and try to rest that. So we'll wait till we get to 1 mile total on this. So that's a good thing. Each time, try something a little bit more. So Monday was total of 1 mile, half and half, 0.5, 0.5. Today I'm going to do it where it's going to be 1.5 total. This is what's really great about this Panhandle. Oh, great in one respect, not great in another respect. So see how straight it is. That goes back to where I parked. There's that guy riding up with a red shirt on. That's where I parked. And then down this way goes towards Oakdale. Alright, let's not get carried away. Boom. See that screen? It has that thing that's on the watch. That's where you got to be real careful you don't touch that, because then you'll turn your walk off. This is what I've been doing for these last 6 weeks. I've been thinking about all these places. And I'm saying, well, I'm not going to get to go to that one because that's far from a trailhead. Oh, that one. I'm watching all my videos. I'm like, geez, there's no closer parking to that. I want to go to that landmark again. I want to go to that tunnel or that bridge or that field or whatever it is. The only way to do it if you're in bad shape is use an electric bike. My bike is a good old-fashioned pedal only, and I think that would be hurtful to that hip area. Keep looking at this total miles. Wait till I get to 1.0 miles. See, this would be a definition of not real scenic, in my opinion, but it's just too straight. And there's this wide open thing to the right. But it's okay, I'm not complaining. It's secluded enough. I'm feeling more like myself again. Walking without any limping. Feeling normal. I can still feel it a little bit on the hip, but it's not too bad. There was something, what was that? Some kind of goofy notification again. The hell is this horse shite? So comes a bike. Hi. We're on our way to Oakdale. There's these little places over here. I lived in Sturgeon. The other day I said, when I was in 8th grade we moved there. I was in 7th grade. I used to be in the Montour district in a David E. Williams Junior High. And then after a few months, we moved out this way in 7th grade, junior high. So I was in West Allegheny school system. Lived here in Sturgeon. And obviously never knew anything about this, you know. I guess they still had trains on it at that time. I was in like the early 1970-ish. 1970, yeah. 1970. There still could have been trains on this and the Montour Trail. And we're getting close to 1 mile. I want to go. I want to keep going. See, if I was fully 100% healthy, I'd go all the way down to Oakdale and back, where I would have gone the other direction all the way to McDonald or Sturgeon, then McDonald and stuff. But not now. Alright. I don't want to push it because I'm feeling it getting a little weird there. It's feeling a little sore. So we're at 1 mile. We just got to 1 mile. There's that mile marker 4 right there. That's different mile marker, different coordinate system than that other one. Those other signs, they have the white ones with the black numbers on it. Those are the numbers I'm used to. And if I remember correctly, when you're down at Sturgeon and heading towards McDonald, that was like, I think, around 12. So this would be like around 10. But this other numbering system, I don't know what that, where does that numbering system start? And so we're heading back. I don't want to get too carried away because I can feel it sore. But, you know, according to what I've been reading all this time for 6 weeks, it's good to get out and walk on this. But just take it slow and less distance than you're used to. So I got a long way to go to get back. I got half a mile to get back, and it's like way up there, way up there, where that fence is. So like I'm thinking, I was starting to say that before, about places that I want to go to, you know, that They're my favorite spots. One is down there at the near the Greer Tunnel on Montour Trail. There's a beautiful through truss bridge on the one side of the tunnel, and there's a little viaduct on the other side of the tunnel. It goes right near the Valley Brook Golf Country Club golf course. Hi. That's a tricky one because if you go from the southern side, which is Route 19 Valley Brook Road, that's 2 miles to get to the tunnel. Through the tunnel. Like it's okay. It's less than 2 miles to get to the tunnel, but it's to get through the tunnel and on the other side of the viaduct near the Valley Brook Golf Course. That's 2 miles exactly. So I love that place. That'd be 4 miles total. There's no way I could do that right now. Even when I didn't have this sore hip, that was a rough one. That was a long one. Now, come from the other direction, it's a little more doable. If you park at the Tandem Bike Shop, it's about 1.5 miles to get to that same point. So it's less. The only thing is, I don't like parking at that Tandem Bike Shop. All because, firstly, it's a dirt parking lot, like they all dirt parking lots. It's kind of irritating. But not only that, there was a time in the fall, it was like 2 years ago, it was like around October of 2024, where they had break-ins into cars and vandalizing stuff, people ransacking cars. And the only problem with that is, the only thing about that was they didn't actually break anything when they got in. They got in because the dumbasses left their car open. People left their cars unlocked, and then these thieves went in and ransacked and took stuff out of the interior of the car. But like I said before on numerous videos, you got to be a real idiot to not lock your car. I've been locking my car since I was, for 50 years. More than 50 years. First car I ever had was in 1974 when I was in high school. I've never gone anywhere without locking the car. When you park it somewhere, even if you're parked in your own driveway, I lock it. What the hell? People are crazy. So it's like partly their own fault. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm walking a little faster. I want to get to a point where I'm not talking about this anymore. Where it's like in the past and it's not even a remnant of a thought. But if I had to think about it, I think this all really started in March of 2025. So a whole year and a half ago. Because, see, when I was a kid, all the way up to when I was an adult here, I'd kneel on the floor doing work, my making out my bills, or when I was in school, my homework. I did everything, I just lay everything out on the floor, and I kneel down, and I turn my legs to the side, my knees to the right side. That's just the way I did everything. When I became an adult, I did my bills. Or even when he brought work home from, work, gosh dang it. When you brought work home, from work, it'd be like homework or something. I did the same thing. I'd lay it out on the floor and I'd be doing all these little things with it. All my stuff was laid out, sort of like a gigantic table, but it's on the floor. Well, I was able to do that. And at one point in March of 2025, when I was doing that, and I was doing my taxes, and I was on the floor like that with my legs I was kneeling and my legs were turned. And when I got up from that, it was hurting so bad in my hip area. And I'm like, oh man, I can't do this anymore. That was just last year, so I was like 66 years old already. But I've been doing that ever since I was, I don't know, 8 years old maybe. So I realized I can't do that anymore. And when I did that, my hip was hurting for a couple of days. It got better. But I remember exactly, it was right at the beginning of the walking season last year, 2025. I went out, that one day, I went to the National Tunnel. It was like March 14th of 2025. And that morning, when I got out of bed, I could hardly even walk. It was the same limping crap, but it worked itself out. And then all last year, there were times when it was a little sore, but it was okay. And then all winter was okay, and got into this year, and it was the same thing. It would be a little sore sometimes. I don't do that thing where I kneel on the floor, but there was a time in May of this year, and that's when it bothered me. I think I was doing too many walks in a row, long walks. But that cleared up. But this last time, in June 30th and July 1st, and that, when I got that new computer and I was kneeling again, I was like, that was the dumbest thing I could have done. Working on my knees like a dumbass, sitting there for hours, or kneeling for hours, typing. I could have just got up and put it up on a table, sat in a regular chair with my back straight and everything. But no, I did that. And I knew while I was doing it that it wasn't a good thing, because I said, I'm gonna hurt my hip again. What the hell is this horse shit? This thing, it said resume workout. I never even stopped, you dum-dum. This apple. I didn't touch anything either. Whatever. But that, I think, like I said, lack of sleep, kneeling on the floor working on your computer, and then going out in the heat and humidity, the extreme heat, and walking long distances. Those were three things. But I think the worst of those was the kneeling and doing work. That's like the worst thing you could do for your hips and your muscles and stuff, your back. No support. And I remember when I was doing it, I said, man, this is starting to hurt. And then I'd kneel on one knee, and lift the other one up a little bit. And then I'd kneel back on the other knee. I'm like, why don't I just get up? Why don't I just get up, take this computer and put it on the table? But I didn't. And I paid for it. Because now, I paid 6 weeks for it. But, alright, let's stop talking about that. It's supposed to be scenic videos, scenic walk videos, not talking videos. It's kind of therapy, though. I like talking about it. It helps me think about all the dumb shit I did. We're feeling really good now. I can see my car, so we're almost back.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is. I'm just thinking about that. This is similar to some of the other times when this hip wasn't real bad, like that one time in 25, there was a time in May this year, and that, where it was sore a little bit, and then you'd walk and it'd be okay. This is pretty much the same way. it's like once you start walking, you loosen everything up. You try not to, tense your muscles too much. So I've gone almost 1.5 miles. I definitely could do that Field of Dreams. I'm going to stop here for a second and talk about that. From the Bulger trailhead up here on the Panhandle Trail to go to the Field of Dreams is about 1.2 miles roughly. There's a range, it's like maybe 1.1 to 1.3, something like that. That's 1.2, let's say, and then 1.2 back, so that's like 2.4. This is like going to be 1.5 today, so I know I could do it. The other way is you go from Midway, parking Midway at the trailhead that's closer to this direction, and from there to the Field of Dreams is about 1.1 miles roughly, same thing. I don't like the parking at that Midway because it's there's a lack of spaces. It's kind of tight there. I like the Bulger trailhead because that's real wide open and not as many people at that place. Except if you go on a weekend, forget about it. But I mean during a weekday like this. So, okay, that's going to be my next thing. I'm going to do that next week. I'm determined to get back to that Field of Dreams. This field that's right here as the background, the wallpaper. The Field of Dreams. Alright, so we are at, I'm not exactly at 1.5 yet. I'm going to walk past my car so I get to 1.5 total. Hi. Now I'm going to try not to get my license plate in here. I'll go up to this road. So there you go. There's where that guy just turned. That's Noblestown Road. That stop sign is. Here comes a car. I'm not going to go on that. I'm going to hang around here and drink water. I lived out this way. Right up here where that car is, and he's making a left. That way we'd go back to Sturgeon. That's where I used to live, out in Sturgeon. Make a right down there, there's a church. We used to go to that church all the time. It's a different name now. It used to be St. Patrick's. Now it's a different name. But I never came on this road right here. This road right here, looks like a nice road. I guess that goes up to that Battle Ridge or something. I don't know exactly where it goes. Anyway, we're at about 1.5. We're just gonna stop this walk and I'll work out. Come back down. Come back down to the vehicle. Let's make sure we don't get the license plate in there. Okay. Alright, so we are at 1.5 and we're gonna call it quits. Alright, so today again is Wednesday, August 26, 2026. We're at the Panhandle Trail, Noblestown Trailhead, having a good time. My hip's feeling better. I feel good. We're signing off now. Bye-bye.